Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you kind of mid this morning or getting close to late morning for a album review, and this is for the start of the Architects Marathon album reviews, which I'm starting with their debut studio album, Nightmares, that I just got done listening to. So I'm gonna discuss what I listened to for this album and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this review. Now, I actually did enjoy a few songs off here, but what did I think of this record? Mm, it's good in its own way. Not perfect, but most of the songs I gave like 4 out of 5s. But considering that it didn't execute too bad, it overall got like an 84.5, but I downgraded it to an 8 because the overall sound of the record and how Matt Johnson, the singer before Sam Carter became a member of the band, uh, was his scream voice was pretty good, but then he does singing voice parts in some songs, and it does not sound that good. I'm like, he can probably scream better than he can sing. uh, like sing scream kind of stuff or whatever. Uh, but To the Death was a decent song. There were some hooks on the song that I just found a little bothersome and a little ear grating, but nothing too bad. Uh, You Don't Walk Away from Dismemberment, a pretty sick title. uh, was not a bad song. I didn't hate that one. Minesweeper was pretty good for what it was. They'll Be Hanging Us Tonight. Ugh, another creepy title. And This Confession Means Nothing is another pretty demeaning title. Uh, well, I wouldn't say another, it's just a demeaning title, but still, most of this album didn't do so bad. There's only like 8 songs, so it's like a 30-minute album. So it's really short for what it is. But Matt Johnson's scream is pretty good. Uh, they form the former singer of Architects that started back in 2006, and then Sam Carter took over the rest of the way from 2007 until now. And yeah, uh, but In the Desert was not a bad song. I didn't hate that one. Uh, A Portrait for the Deceased is his singing voice in it. It just made me cringe at times. I was like, I don't know if I like this. But uh, The Darkest Tomb, the final track, closed out the record pretty well. I wouldn't say perfect, but pretty well. There were some moments in some songs where he does his singing voice, and like I said, it doesn't really sound as impressive, but it's all right. Um, and A Portrait for the Deceased was had a singing moment in it, and it sounds like he's talking and yelling and singing, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Uh, but In the Desert had it too, but not to the point where it was so bad. So I gave it a chance, and maybe I'll have to come back and hear this album again to see what I think of it, but so far I'm liking it. Overall, I think Architect's Nightmares was a good album in its own way. Not perfect, but it was good for what it was. So, this actually is going to be my shortest album review because I didn't have a lot of songs to talk about with this album because I breezed through it pretty quickly. But out of 10, I think I'm going to give this album 8 out of 10. Good album. Not perfect, but it's good in its own way. I probably see myself coming back to this album a few times. I wouldn't say I'd be interested in buying it. I don't know for sure. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. It depends on how the replay value of this album goes. But so far, I didn't hate what I was listening to, and sorry that I moved the camera. I was just trying to get something. One of my pens was on the opposite side of my bed, so I was just trying to grab it, and I jerked the camera a little bit. So sorry about that. But definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Architects Marathon album review I did today for Nightmares, if you've heard it. And if you like this marathon album review I did for Architects Nightmares, the review for it, comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. Tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can to support the channel. I will be returning to you tomorrow for the next album review for Architects, which will be for Ruin, and that will feature Sam Carter in the album. Not feature, but he's gonna be the lead vocalist for the, well, he's now the lead vocalist and still is the lead vocalist. So he's been with Architects for almost 14 years. So that's a pretty long time. It's almost a decade and a half that's gone by with him being the singer of Architects. By 2022, it will be 15 years since he's been with Architects. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this album review I did for Architects Nightmares. I did the best I could to make it as good as possible. And if I decide to do a track review that does come out today, I'll do one. But I haven't seen anything interesting come out yet. I don't know if I will. There's going to be 3 album reviews I'm doing this coming up Friday for Hollywood Undead, New Empire Volume 2, then Youngblood Weird, and Shawn Mendes Wonder. So definitely tune in for those album reviews. I hope you enjoyed this marathon album review I started for Architects and their album Nightmares. Definitely stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.